Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Motive Racing for this evening's Touring Car League race. We're here at Silverstone Classic. Qualifying has just got underway here. As we can see, John Boy just heading out now, trying to warm up his tyres. And Silverstone Classic consisting of 9 corners, and it's just under 3 miles at 4.7 kilometres long. So it's quite a long track. It's going to be interesting to see how the Megane and Beamer fare up against each other this evening, with the long straights where the BMW can claw back its time, and only a couple of tight corners where the Megane can make up that time and try and get past. And we'll have to wait and see. I haven't seen any of the practice building up to this race, so I don't really know what sort of lap times and what cars are going to be up there. Obviously, we know Mike is leading the championship at the moment in his BMW, as he heads across the line now to start his first flying lap. Let's jump on board to see what it's like as we head down towards turn 1 for the first time this evening. And he's just trying to get those tyres warmed up, as we can see the back end there sliding slightly. So as we watch him go through the first sector, I'm going to just get the championship standings up and see where we're at moving into this evening. As we can see, Mike there just struggling with tyres at the moment. It doesn't look like the track is too warm for this evening's qualifying session. And we've got 14 drivers for this evening. Obviously myself in the commentary booth gives Andy the opportunity to head out on track and show all the other drivers in the championship how it's done. So this being round 4 of the championship, after this evening we've only got 2 rounds left at Cota and Willow Springs, so it's going to be pivotal for the likes of John Boy and Jay to get plenty of points this evening to try and catch up to Mike. As you can see, someone there trying to make an overtake and get past as they move through the middle sector. Let's jump on board with Andy, who's obviously usually commentating. And as you might all know, we're very fortunate to have a sponsor for this championship, which is Revolt Detailing. And Revolt Detailing is car cleaning products such as snow foams, Palmer Violet shampoos, banana interior dressings and ceramics. You can also do package deals for people in the UK. Feel free to check out their website, which is revoltdetailer.com, and they also have a Facebook page and Instagram account. If you could go and have a look, drop them a like and a share, it'd be very appreciated from all of us here at Motive, as they're giving us some prizes to the top 3 in the championship. And obviously some of these drivers are going to be wanting some of that detailing kits and all that goodness at the end of the championship, so they're definitely going to be battling it out this evening. With this being quite a wide track, we're going to see maybe 2-3 wide going into corners. As we see there, Cobb pushing the limits and off track there, so he's going to slow down, head back to the pits. We've got 5 minutes to go, so he's going to grab some new tyres and head back out. So he's on provisional pole at the minute with a 1:31.2. Jay, as we can see, just coming up into the last sector now. He's second, 6/10 behind. Let's see if he can improve on that lap time as he heads into the last chicane. Let's see how tight this chicane is as we come round it now. And there's the finish line, so it's very close to the outside of that chicane, and he does improve. He finds an extra 5/10, but it's just not enough to beat Cobb at the moment, who stays on provisional pole. He's got someone slipstreaming behind him. Can't quite figure out who that is. But they'll be taking obviously the effects of that and hoping to get a good lap time sat behind Jay. So we've only got 6 drivers who have set a lap time at the moment. I say that and another one does a lap time, so that's 7. We've still got Revolt Detailer in the pit. He must be doing some last minute shampooing to his car and making it look all nice before this evening's race. So obviously we've got the usual going on this evening with a sprint race after this qualifying, and then after that we'll do a usual reverse grid and head out with a mandatory pit stop in the second race. So we're just on board now with Emo Guy. Emo Guy used to have a lot to do with Motive, if you're quite familiar around here. He's one of our OG sort of drivers. He's been around for a while. Hasn't been in this much in season 11, but I'm very pleased to see him here at Silverstone Classic as he's just about to come through the last chicane, and I think this will be his first lap time of the evening as he comes across the line there. It looks like that lap time was invalidated. So currently Cobb still on pole position provisionally, and he's managed to move up to second, less than a tenth behind. And I say that Jay puts it on pole as he goes across the line by 4.2 400ths of a second as he runs wide at turn 1, and it looks like he's going to have a cool down lap and try again with only 3 minutes to go. We've got Party Pooper X on the second row currently, only a second behind the drivers in front, so if he can find someone to slipstream we might see him move up. At the moment it looks like the McGanns are the ones to watch in qualifying, with top 4 all being McGanns, and then behind we've got Flaky in his BMW. Grandad Steve rounding up your third row at the moment. He's in 6th, 1.3 seconds behind. He's always one to watch, his Grandad Steve, quite a consistent driver. He looks like he's trying to get some slipstream there from a BMW in front, so his time might improve. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Mike, your championship leader there, just coming through, I think that's sector 2. Oh no, and that's into turn 1, sorry, so he's just finished another lap. And it looks like he might be struggling, or just trying to get used to that BMW around here with the cold track conditions. Obviously with it being a rear wheel drive, he needs to get those tyres up to temperature, and this 10-minute qualifying might just not be enough for him this evening. Behind him we've got Ray's in 8th position. He's setting a consistent lap time of a 1:34.2, although he's 3 seconds off the pace. He might be able to miss all the carnage at the start and work his way forwards towards the end of this first 20-minute sprint race this evening. The Much Nuts in 10th position currently as he heads through turn 1. He's 3.6 tenths back, 3 seconds back, sorry. Emo Guy set an 11th, so he's managed to set a lap time. Now there's only 2 drivers out there that haven't, but they'll be looking to do so in the next minute and a half. As Revolt Detail, as you can see that car all shiny now, he's heading out on track to try and set a lap time. So it is still as it was while Cobb's managed to move up to the front row. He's managed to set a 1:31.1, so Jay's the only driver in the 1:30s at the moment. And obviously after last season with Jay winning the overall championship, he'll be looking to do so. He hasn't had the best first 3 rounds with contacting issues with other drivers and unfortunate luck, but he'll be looking to do his utmost to try and get back up there in the rest of the season, as we're now at the halfway point. So we're just watching Cobb now come through towards the last sector. Is this going to be an improvement on his previous lap time? Is he going to be able to get himself on pole? We've only got 30 seconds to go in this qualifying session, so he will be able to get one more lap in. It's just as to whether his tyres will allow it. And he does go provisional pole now. So has Jay got anything to fight back? Where's Jay on track? So Jay is just in front of Cobb as they head through turn 1. So Cobb's going to want to stay in that slipstream because he'll know if Jay isn't pulling away, then that lap time is going to stick. Jay's just trying to stick to the bumper of that BMW he's got in front. Can't quite figure out, that's John Boy in front of him. Obviously these boys are all good mates, and Jay was screaming down the radio, come on John Boy, I need that slipstream now more than ever. I know you're struggling, but drag me around this track. And Cobb's just trying to dig deep and catch up to Cobb as fast as he can and hopefully keep himself on pole. We saw Cobb's pace in the clears at the Long Beach on Monday as he put himself on pole. Hopefully he has a bit more luck than he did on Monday evening in the sprint race, where a little bit of unfortunate contact with Grandad Steve put him down, but he did manage to regain some positions and get himself back up to 3rd position in the sprint race. If you did miss that, ladies and gentlemen, it is uploaded on the Motive Racing YouTube channel, where you can check out all the other races of this season and previous seasons. So is Jay going to be able to do anything? He's managed to catch up to John Boy in this lap, and he might slow him down through the chicane, as the Megane is the faster car in the last sector. As we come across the line for the final time, it is going to be Cobb on pole by the looks of it, and Cobb goes faster that time, using the slipstream of John Boy and Jay. So it's 6/10 the gap between Cobb and Jay as we head into the sprint race this evening. So there's the results, ladies and gentlemen. Cobb on pole, we've got Jay 6/10 back, we've got Andy who's in third. I think it's a 3-row grid this evening here at Silverstone, we'll find out shortly. Then we've got Flaky, the first BMW, Pop Pippa Rex rounding up your top 5 this evening, Grandad Stee in 6th, John Boy in 7th, and Charlie Goff in 8th. Let me just see. Charlie Goff in 8th, we've got Mike, your championship leader, down in 9th, so he's got some work to do in this sprint race. We've got Revolt Detailer, he managed to put a lap time in and move up to 10th. Raids in 11th, Emo Guy 12th, the Much Nuts 13th, Aussie LB down in 14th, and Thomas rounding up your grid for this evening. So we've got a full 15 drivers here. And it's going to be what looks to be a brilliant race, as we are pretty much 4 wide off the line. Flaky on the inside in that BMW. He's going to be one to watch off the line with those rear-wheel drive BMWs. They're going to fly off the line, so we're going to have to watch that wide BMW on the inside. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Who's going to take the victory in the sprint race, ladies and gentlemen? And whilst we've just got this moment now, I will remind everyone, obviously this championship is sponsored by Revolt Detailer. Revolt Detailer is obviously racing this evening. He's starting in 10th, but if you would like to find out any more about the likes of your cleaning products for your car, snow foams, palm and violet shampoos, banana interior dressings and ceramics, please head over to their website, which is revoltdetailer.com. Check out their Facebook page as well, and they also have an Instagram account if you'd like to see what sort of products they've got. So we've just got 30 seconds now. The drivers are just putting all their setups in, checking that they've got the right amount of fuel, and just waiting for everyone to ready up. And I'm hoping we see the same sort of lap times as we did in qualifying, obviously with slipstreaming being a massive thing around this circuit, that we will see that 1:30.1 that we saw Cobb doing qualifying. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get underway with round 4 of the touring car season here at Motive Racing. The lights go green and we are underway, and it looks like Flaky didn't get a good start there on the inside, but he does manage to get away now. He is on the inside of Cobb into turn 1. It looks like he's going to get the inside. John Boy coming around the outside in his orange BMW as well. The Megans are getting absolutely swamped as we head down towards turn 1. It is Flaky leading the way on the outside. Cobb tried his best to try and defend off the BMWs in the background, as we've got Party Pooper Rex now side by side with Cobb as well. So he's got a brilliant start there as we head down towards turn 3. Everyone hard on the brakes. It looks like everyone's got round okay at the moment. Let's have a look a bit further back. Mike, your championship leader's managed to move up to 7th as he's doing his best to try and gain as much time as he can. Obviously we've still got, this is a 20-minute race, so we've still got plenty of time to try and work his way forwards. As we see there, he's going to go up the inside into turn 6 now. But it is currently Flaky, Cobb, Jay leading the way, and we've got a car off in the background. And it looks like that's the Much Nuts off at turn 7. So he's gonna, depending on damage, head back to the pits or see what he can do and finish this race. But as we come through the last sector, now it's side by side. Cobb trying to get that inside into the chicane because he knows he's going to be faster through there than the BMW. He can get on the brakes a lot later and get a better drive through. So there we go. Oh, and there's a touch of wheels. There's a touch of wheels in the last sector. They managed to keep going. Jay's going to take the lead. There's a few bumper touches in the background. But as we say here at Motive Racing, rubbing is racing as they touch across the line. And looks like there's no love lost between Flaky, and I think that was Party Pooper who was side by side with them. We've got, I think that was Cobb off in the distance there, just running a little bit wide out of turn 1. There's a few drivers with penalties at the moment, Andy and Eno Guy. I think they might have possibly got a jump start by the looks of it. I don't think they've got track limits on this evening. As his drivers taking different lines there through turn 3 to try and get a good drive out of turn 4 now onto this long straight into the second sector. And it is Jay leading the way at the moment. He's got a 7/10 gap now as they head round turn 8. Cobb trying to chase down as much as he can. And where is the championship leader? That's the question. So he's in the pits. Mike is in the pits. He's had a nightmare on the first lap. It looks like we missed whatever happened to Mike. So that is very unfortunate for him, as he's going to be losing out massively this evening on the likes of Cobb and Jay. So it might even possibly get lapped. And he will do. There's the pit lane entrance. As Jay and Cobb now the ones setting the pace. They've got a 2-second gap over Grandad Steve. Emo Guy's managed to work his way up to 4th, so that's a brilliant drive so far for Emo Guy. We're nearly a quarter of the way through this race this evening, as Cobb comes across the line to start lap 3, I think. Let me just double check, sorry. Lap 3, sorry. So Cobb's managed to get back in that slipstream now, that comfortable area where he can just sit and watch and work out where he is faster than Jay and where he can make that move towards the end of the race and hopefully take the full 50 points and the win. Further back we have got John Boy rounding up the top 5 at the moment. Party Pooper just behind him, with Andy sat in the slipstream as they come down the long straight now. So currently John Boy is the first BMW on track. We've got someone running wide in the background, and that's Revolt Detail. He's got damage at that back end of that Megane and the front. The bumpers waving all over the place. His car's all over the place, and it looks like he'll be heading for an early pit stop shortly, as that car, well, I would like to say it looks more bent than Andy, but that's a bit of a phrase that we can't be saying today. As Mike's trying to make up as much time as he can as he tries to go around Revolt Detail as safely as he can. We've got Flaky just in front of Revolt, trying to make up as much lost time as he can after those first couple of laps, as he comes across the line now to start lap 4. It is as it was when we last looked now. Jay just in front of Cobb, and Grandad Steve in 3rd position. Let's see what sort of penalties these drivers have got. So I think they have got track limits on this evening. As you can see there, 2-second penalty for Cobb, 3 seconds for Grandad Steve. So this will all be looked into towards the end of the race, where Cobb is going to have to make that move on Jay and get that 2-second gap to take the victory. That all being if he doesn't get any more penalties. So Grandad Steve at the moment sat comfortably in 3rd with a 2-second gap over Emo Guy. And it looks like John Boy's lost out to the top 5 position at the moment. Andy moves up to 5th. Emo Guy in front as well. So John Boy's had a slight issue at the start of that lap. He's got Charlie Goff all over the back of him as well with his lights on. And let's jump on board with Charlie Goff and see what it's like from his perspective. John Boy's back end looks like it's struggling this evening, as we saw from Mike in qualifying. He just couldn't get any grip from that rear wheel drive. As John Boy there, we're seeing the mirror drop back down to 8th position now, so he's not having the night that he was looking for this evening. And Party Pooper goes wide into the last sector, and he's off into the wall. Let's see where he's gone. So he's into the tyres there in the last chicane. Did he pick up any damage as he's trying to pull back onto the track as safely as he can? That's what we like to see here at Motive. Big loss there for Party Pooper. He's having a brilliant drive this evening in the sprint race. Mike's just coming around the outside there to try and unlap himself. And behind Party Pooper now we've got Revolt just trying to collect what he can from this evening. We've just seen him off into the wall at the middle sector, and he's just heading around now. 13 minutes more driving for him, but it is as it was, as we said previously. Jay and Cobb up at the front. Let's see what the penalty situation is now. So Jay has got a 2-second penalty as well. So these pairs are just going to keep scrapping it out until the end. And let's see a little bit further back if anything's going on. It is still Emo Guy, Andy, Charlie, and John Boy's trying to hang on in there. Emo Guy's going defensive through the middle sector, trying to hold off Andy. Andy's going to try and want to get on the podium this evening. And you saw there in the background, John Boy's BMW not happy with this evening's conditions. His back end slipping out. And I really do feel for him. He's had a really good season at the moment in that BMW. He's obviously one of the only drivers who have chosen to switch over to the BMW. And he's tried to make it work the best he can, but tonight just isn't meant to be by the looks of it. But we'll see him more in the feature race later on if you do stick around. It might work better for him, get his tyres up to temperature over that longer race distance. As we see coming through turn 2 now, your race leaders, Jay and Cobb, down to turn 3. Some tyre smoke there from Jay as he runs wide. Cobb might get a better pickup now into turn 4. Down this long straight, will he be able to slipstream and possibly make a move into turn 5? Jay's going defensive as he pulls back across to the racing line. And these boys have got a 3-second gap over third position, which is still Grandad Steve. So they're pretty comfortably at the moment. He's got a 4-second gap over that battle, which is Andy, Emo Guy and Charlie. So Andy looks like he's got past there. He's trying to pull away from Emo Guy and Charlie. Charlie needs to try and get past Emo Guy as soon as he can if he wants to keep up with Andy and start moving up proceedings. We're just about to head towards halfway through race distance now, as we come through the last sector to end lap 6. And it looks like Cobb's just sat there pretty comfy at the moment. He has done for the most of this race. And it looks like Jay is a little bit faster through that middle sector as Cobb is losing out, so Jay just needs to try and memorise that. We've got JR in the comments saying, "Go on, Andy." And he's got plenty of fans out there. As we know, Andy is the host of Motive Racing, and it's always good to see him out there racing when he gets a chance, usually obviously commentating. I've decided to take a step back from racing for season 11 and give Andy a hand, let him take the seat and get a few drives under his belt, get his foot back in the game. Flaky at the moment, just trying to hold off Thomas, and it looks like we've got a 3-way battle with the BMWs, with Mike obviously a lap driver at the moment, but he's currently sat in this 3-way battle between himself, Flaky and Thomas as they head up towards sector 2. And the leaders heading towards the last sector now. Still, as you were, that 3/10 gap just seems to be consistent. The lap times are, well, I would say around the same, but Cobb's last lap time was 5/10 slower than Jay's. And let's try and figure out at the moment, with 9 minutes to go, who would get that extra point for the fastest lap. It would be Cobb at the moment that get the extra point with a 1:31 dead. So I think that was faster than his actual qualifying lap. As they come across the line now to start lap 8. We've got Andy now in third. So where's Grandad Steve? It looks like Grandad Steve might have had an issue on that lap. As Andy has managed to get past. As it looks like we've now got a 4-way battle for the last spot on the podium. Which McGann is going to stand on that bronze step of the podium is the question. Let us know in the comments, is it going to be Grandad Steve? Is it going to be Andy? As we're too wide heading through turn 2 this time. Is it going to be Emo Guy? Is it going to be Charlie? Charlie sat there just at the back at the moment, quite comfy to do so. Andy's run wide at turn 4. And it is Grandad Steve that takes third position back at the moment. And he's going to try and rejoin the track safely. And we can see there in the background Andy just rejoining at the back. And it is Grandad Steve now back in P3, and he's going to try and regain himself, listen to the tyres, see what's going on in front of him. Apologies. So Andy's going to try and see what he can do now. He's still got 8 minutes to go in this race, so he's still got plenty of time to try and make this move back up to P3. Charlie sat down there in 6th position. He has also got no penalties. So if you're listening, Charlie, just stay there, mate, because at the moment Andy runs wide out of the last corner we saw there. So he's not going to get the best run now into turn 1. So, and he just come up the inside there of Andy into turn 1. So what I was saying there, ladies and gentlemen, so Charlie has picked up a penalty now, so pretty much all the drivers have got penalties. I was about to say Charlie just needs to stay comfortable and he will get 3rd position. And it is Grandad Stee and Emu Guy now battling for 3rd position. They've only got 3 tenths between the pair of them, and Jay still sat in front of Cobb at the moment. It looks like we're side by side now between Emu Guy and Grandad Stee, as well as in the background Andy trying to make a move on Charlie, as Emu Guy makes a move but runs slightly wide. A little bit of contact possibly there in the background between Andy and Charlie. Charlie manages to keep the position though. Emu Guy going for the inside of Grandad Stee towards the penultimate corner. They're still side by side as they come up to the chicane. Grandad Stee on the inside. Will he manage to make this move work? One of them is going to have to concede, and it is Emu Guy that concedes the position. These pair just need to keep working now, and that gap will go out between themselves and Andy and Charlie. So just bear that in mind with 5 minutes 45 to go as we come across the line to start lap 10. And Cobb has taken the lead of the race, ladies and gentlemen. So he now thinks that it is the time to try and push on and to get himself a gap over Jay. The gap now 1 second. So he's worked out where he is faster and he's pushed and got that gap. So he did qualify on pole as we saw, and it looks like he's now using that pace to try and get himself away. That gap's gone out massively between Jay. Is Jay coming to a stop? What's going on? Is he having engine issues? Can't tell what's happened to Jay's car there, but he's dropped back 6 seconds this lap. So the battle's still on for that last spot on the podium as Emu Guy's up the inside of Grandad Stee now again, as they head up towards the penultimate corner. And it looks like Jay might just want to be getting involved in a bit of battling behind by the looks of it, as he's dropping back. Let's see. Charlie's still in front of Andy, battling out for that last spot in the top 5. Grandad Stee a little bit wide there through the chicane. He might lose a little bit of pace as they come across the line. He's still in that slipstream though, only 6 tenths behind. And as I say, Jay lost a lot of time that lap. He did a 1:38.5 with Cobb doing a 1:31.3, so he lost 7 seconds that lap. I don't really know what's happened to him, but he's still sat there in second with just under 4 minutes to go. So at the moment he's going to sit himself on the podium comfortably. It's not the race win he was looking for, but it is still decent points compared to what has happened to Mike, who's down in 15th. That's your championship leader you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, who is now trying to regain anything he can as he's caught up to Ozzy Albie. Oh no, he hasn't caught up to him yet. Ozzy Albie just in front down the straight. That's the next position on the road. He's in 14th with his bumper hanging off. He looks like he's having a hard race as well. Charlie still trying to hold on to that top 5 position with Andy trying to make a move up the inside through the middle sector. Just couldn't get it done then. He couldn't get the drive out of that corner. So he slots back inside. He knows he's going to have to make this move shortly with only 3 minutes to go. Let's jump on board and see what's happening from Andy's perspective as they head up towards the last chicane. Now he's getting a good drive onto the straight. Let's see if they're side by side now. Andy looks like he's made the move and Charlie just drops in behind. So well done Andy, a lovely drive there into the last sector. Got the move done and says farewell, goodbye, lick the stamp and sent it. So your race leader heading through turn 3. He's sitting pretty comfortable now. His lap times have not really changed. He's still doing 1:31.3s, even though he's got that substantial gap of 7 seconds over Jay. Emo Guy now sat in third. It looks like Grandad Steve's dropped back slightly. He's 3 seconds behind Emo Guy now. And just behind Andy, trying to catch up as best as he can. It looks like he's going to run out of time with only 2 minutes to go. He might be able to get in that slipstream if he does keep pushing and catch Grandad Steve. Charlie Goff is trying his best to keep up with Andy there and possibly make a move towards the last couple of laps now as Cobb is heading up towards the last chicane to start what I think will be the last lap. It's going to be close. Let me have a look. It's going to be close. Might just back it off, so it's 1:32 as he come across the line, time remaining, and he's been doing 1:31s consistently. So if he just backs off slightly, this will be the last lap, as it looks like he's coming up on a lap driver there, and he's still trying to chase down as he comes through the last corner now. Grandad Steve, he's got a 2 second gap. Let's see what the lap times were that time around. So Grandad Steve did a 1:40 that time around, with Andy doing 1:32, so he's on pace as Andy at the moment. He's trying his best. It all depends whether this is going to be the last lap from Cobb or if he's going to push it and try and get another lap. As to whether that will help Andy, we don't know. And I think that's Revolt Detailer there. He's just catching up to, as Revolt just pulls out of the way and moves to one side to let the race leader through. As we know, Revolt Detailer sponsoring this championship, we have to thank him again. If you would like any car shampoos or detailing kits, feel free to head over to his website, which is revoltdetailer.com, or check out his social medias. He's on Facebook and Instagram. Drop a like, a follow, or share on his account. I'm sure that will be very much appreciative from himself and us at Motive Racing. As we've only got 10 seconds to go now, is Cobb going to hold the brakes and call it a day? And yes, he is cruising across the line now, so that is the last lap, ladies and gentlemen. Well done to Cobb, who takes the win in the sprint race. Jay's going to come across the line to take second. It's a little bit of bittersweet for himself. Emo Guy is going to round up your podium. He's going to take third off Grandad Steve. And Andy just ran out of time there, really. He runs up the top 5 though. He's going to be pleased with that as his first debut in the touring cars this season. Oh, and he claps the wall in the last chicane. So he comes across the line with half his suspension on the front. Thomas, your first BMW home, in 7th. Port Pooper in 8th. Oh, and Thomas drops down to 8th after penalties. Flaky in 9th. John Boy in 10th. The Muchnuts just coming up to the last corner now. He's going to be in 11th, obviously, after his crash. He's not going to be too pleased, but he should be happy with that. Some decent points. Revolt Detailer comes around in 12th. And if I can figure out, if I can press my buttons. So yeah, Revolt Detailer in 12th. Raids in 13th. Aussie LB 14th. And Mike running up this evening's proceedings. Championship leader finishes in last, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what to say. The championship leader in last. Let's try and get an interview with your drivers who have been on the podium this evening. I think it will be Cobb that takes the extra point for the fastest lap. We've got Emo Guy here in the commentary booth. Obviously, your first time racing in season 11. How do you think that went for you, Emo Guy? It couldn't really go much better. Obviously, moving from towards the middle of the pack off the line, starting full wide, it can always be carnage, but you managed to get on that podium.
Yeah, I feel like it, definitely kind of went a little bit better in terms of the start, but apart from that, given that I had no practice and I've not played Project Cars 2 in a competitive manner for a long time, yeah, but it
Yeah.
went pretty well.
I mean, I'm guessing the lads have got something to watch out for then in the feature race. You just starting in front of Jay and Cobb. They're going to have to watch out, seeing as you seem to be on the pace this evening.
Yeah, well, also I don't want to be interfering with anybody that's in the championship, so I'm not going to, if they end up coming up behind me, I'm not going to fight them too hard.
Yeah, that's understandable. Well, best of luck for the feature race, Emo guy. Well done in that sprint race. We look forward to seeing how you get on.
Thank you very much.
And in the commentary booth now, we've got the sprint race winner for round 4 of the Touring Car Championship. How do you think that went, Cobb? Obviously, we saw you take the lead, and then Jay just looks like he drops back. I don't know whether he missed a gear or something, but you were just
No, he
cruising
just
away with it then.
he ran a bit wide, and obviously with track limits on and stuff, he backed off to obviously not get the penalty. So fair play to him. It was a bit of a shame really because we were both really close and pretty much evenly matched.
Yeah.
So it was a shame that he went off. I mean, because I thought we could have had a good race at the end. But obviously, being a first win for a while, I'm pretty happy. So,
Yeah, well done.
it could have been a lot worse because obviously, as you've probably seen, the first lap was a little bit chaotic. So.
Yeah, there was a few drivers heading to the pits pretty early. We saw you sat behind Jay for most of the race. Was that just sort of tactical, trying to figure out where you were faster than him?
It was more lining up for, I think it was the last corner that I was thinking about, but it was more just us trying to get away. So I mean,
Yeah.
just working together. It's a long race, and at the end of the day, I know Jay, and he's a good driver, and so I knew that if we both just kept each other going, we'd get away. So it was a shame that he went off. But yeah, good race for me. So
Yeah. Well, are we going to see you working with the likes of Jay in this feature race to try and, like you say, get
yeah,
away with some time and
yeah,
possibly make an
well,
early pit stop or anything?
yeah, we'll see how it goes, mate. I got to practice the pit stop. So
We'll leave you to it then, Cobb. Well done in the sprint race.
thanks very much, mate. Cheers.
So there we just had a chat with your sprint race winner of round 4 here at Silverstone Classic. Our drivers are just heading out now for a 5-minute practice session where they can practice their pit stops and any changes to the car before they head into the feature race. We might see the likes of John Boy and Mike make some minor changes to their cars in the BMW. As we saw, the BMW was really struggling this evening around here, which was very unexpected really. I expected to see it going well on such a fast track with not much heavy tight braking corners. I thought this was going to be the one for the BMW, but it just doesn't seem to be it. Obviously off the start line we saw Flaky get a really good start, and that's just generic for the BMW, but he just wasn't able to keep up there. We're just watching Charlie Goff now heading into the last sector. He had a really good first race, as he's going to start, I think he finished 5th, so he'll be starting 10th on the grid, middle of the pack this evening. As you might know if you're watching at home and have watched previously, we do a reverse grid of the sprint race standings. So we just spoke to Cobb in the commentary booth. He's going to start last with a rolling formation lap, and he's going to start at the back with Jay just in front of him, and then it's going to be Emo Guy and Andy. So no, then Steve and Andy, then Charlie Goff, that's the one. So we're just waiting for this practice session to finish, and then we will get things underway. I'm going to just grab a glass of water. If it is the first time joining us for a stream, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming along. Feel free to find out more about Motive Racing on our website, which is motiveracing.com, if you'd like to join in, or we do also have other leagues on Assetto Corsa and Formula 1, so you can find out more, join our Discord, get yourself signed up. We all love a bit of fun and racing, so we're open to having anyone in the leagues as long as you're safe and you know how to race, then that's fine. So we're just about to come up to the last chicane now, where we'll see Mike starting the race. very, very shortly as we head into the last corner. Just waiting to hear those revs rise, and I think he's gone. There we go. So the race is underway for this evening's the last race of round 4 here at Silverstone Classic. Mike's got a phenomenal start as he heads down towards turn 1. He's got nearly a second gap over Ozzy. Further back, all the drivers look like they're getting through safely as Flaky looks like he's too wide, possibly with John Boy. And Cobb and Jay are going to be the ones to watch, trying to make up as much as time as they can from being 8 seconds down off the start. Look at that gap Mike's got already. He's trying to prove a point that he is the championship leader in this feature race with a 2-second gap already over everyone else. So, like we said, he might try and drive away, and it looks like he's doing that now. These drivers behind are going to be saying, right, let's not battle now, let's work together to close down this gap. I don't want to be battling with you. I say that, and Reyes is trying to go up the inside of Ozzy Albin and gets it done into the middle sector. So he's like, nope, I'm having none of it. That gap is getting closed down on my own. If you want to come with me, then you're going to have to sit behind. It looks like Andy's running wide there in the background. I think it was Andy. So he might be getting an early penalty, unfortunately. And the question is now, what drivers are we going to see head for the pit lane this early on? Or will we see them stay out and try and use that slipstream is the question. John Boy there just trying to push the limits, and he's wide out of the penultimate corner. Whether that was John Boy's fault is the question. He was just trying to avoid John Boy, I think, there. So there's the pit lane entrance. Are we going to see any of these drivers? There we go, Cobb, Jay, and oh, then we've got a driver off in the background. It's Revolt Detailer again. Oh, he's just not having a good night. And it looks like the Mutts Nuts was involved as well. And it just looks like it's not Revolt Detailer's night, unfortunately, this to be. And he's definitely going to need some snow foam for that car. So Jay and Cobb headed into their pit boxes now, and they're going to come out obviously towards the back of the grid. But Mike is the one setting the pace at the moment. His first race lap was a 1:32 dead. But we know that the McGanns can go a second quicker. So the question is, what's going to happen further back? Ozzy Albi currently trying to fend off John Boy, but also catch up to, and I say that, the commentator's curse, Ozzy Albi runs slightly wide there, coming out of turn 8. And John Boy on the inside makes the move on Ozzy Albi. I think he's got it done. As we're too wide in the background there. We've got a nice little battle between 6 drivers here, formed between Flaky, Grandad Steve, Party Pooper, Andy and Emo Guy. Oh, there's a touch on wheels there! A caution! Pardon me. The caution there between Charlie and I think that was Grandad Steve, so they're heading for the pit lane quietly. And they didn't really lose much time there. They managed to keep going and get in that pit lane nice and early. Flaky's in there as well. So let's get the map up and see where Cobb and Jay are on track, and see how much time they're going to make up on these boys. Looks like Jay's got a bit of a gap over Cobb at the moment as well. So Jay comes out of the last corner now, and it looks like he's going to take the as he is your race leader after the pit stops. But obviously Mike is the one to watch at the moment, who's setting the pace as he heads down towards sector 2. And he's nearly got a 5-second gap over everyone else. He's just driving away with this one. This is the dominant performance we've seen all season from Mike. As we can see, Andy off there again in the background, and by the looks of it, he's driving a lawnmower this evening in this feature race, as he's too wide there. Emo Guy comes around the outside into the second to last corner. That was a lovely move from Emo Guy, using that pace he got as he comes up into the chicane. Andy heading for the pit lane now to get a new strimmer on the back of that McGann. A little tap of the wall there on the entrance. John Boy currently sat in third, trying to keep up with Reigns in front. Reigns runs a little bit wide into turn 1. And it looks like John Boy's going to take that position off him. The commentator's curse there, unfortunately, working wonders. Manages to hold on to third. There was Yelby there, comfortable in 4th at the moment. He'll be looking to put Reigns under a bit of pressure. Reigns knowing he's just run wide, so he's going to have to try and work his way back up to John Boy. And be there for his pit stop. We've got Jay, Flaky and Charlie there. All sat in line and position. Looks like Cobb's managed to hang on to the back of these boys, so he's got a bit of slipstream now. Andy there going to slot in behind Jay. So this is your race after the pit stop pretty much. And Reigns there going for the inside move on John Boy. And it looks like he might have got that done, and he has. So he moves up to 2nd position on the road now. Ozzy Elby trying to get into that slipstream from these boys and move his way up. As we're too wide in front between Reigns and John Boy. John Boy on the outside into the last chicane. And I think John Boy will just say you can have that. As Reigns in and gets sideways slightly. Oh, John Boy's in the wall. John Boy's lost it. The BMW rear end grip loses itself again, and it's just unfortunate there for John Boy that he'd already gone past the pit lane entrance, so he's going to have to do another lap. Thomas heads for the pit lane now. Jay coming into the last corner shortly as your race leader after the pit stop, with Andy trying to hold on like we said he might try and do in this feature race. He's trying to hold on as best as he can to Jay. We know Jay's got loads of pace as he won the last season 10's championship of the touring cars. Just like the touring cars, he's driven a Civic previously on track days and stuff like that, so he definitely knows how to handle a car like this. And it is still Mike out in front. He's got no penalties, so that's something to be watching at the end of this race. Let's have a look at what's going on with these penalties. So Jay doesn't have one either, and Cobb doesn't have one. But it is Mike setting the pace at the moment. He's got an 8-second, nearly 9-second gap over Emo Guy. As he's sat there comfortably in 2nd position behind is Aussie LB. Looks like Reigns has had a slight issue there as he's dropped down to 4th. John Boy obviously after that spin in the last corner is down in 5th now. Jay there looks like he's absolutely flying with the pace around that corner. He's in 6th. His last lap time was 1.2 seconds quicker than the race leader, sorry. I was going to say 9/10, but it's 1.2 seconds quicker than a Mike, so it's going to be interesting to see whereabouts Mike will come out after his pit stop as they head on to lap 7 now. Andy just trying to hang on there. We can see that gap between them paired around 1.5 seconds as they head down towards turn 1. John Boy still in the pit lane with Reigns as well. So they're going to be the ones that lose out at the moment, unfortunately. Mike heading down towards the middle sector. Well, through the middle sector, sorry. I mean, this is the only downside of him being out on his own, that he can set consistent laps and he's not going to end up in a crash. But he's got no one to slipstream, whereas Jay and Andy might be looking to work together shortly if Andy just closes down that gap where they can bump each other down the straights and push on. And I think the only drivers now to not make their pit stops is Aussie Elby and Mike. As Aussie Elby there coming down the last sector. I think that was John we saw there. No, it wasn't. Oh, it was Thomas, sorry, it was Thomas. It's the same coloured BMW. So he's been lapped, unfortunately for him. He looks like he's carrying quite a lot of damage in this feature race, unfortunate for him, as he comes across the line. And it looks like Andy's managed to close that gap down between himself and Jay. Let's jump on board now with Andy. Let's have some comments for Andy saying, come on Andy, show these fellas how it's done. I do apologise for the cough, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that time of year when everyone gets a bit of man flu. And the Cobb coming up under a bit of pressure there from Flaky, as we saw in there in the mirror. He's all over the back of him at the moment. As they head down towards turn 3, Cobb holding the defensive line, managing to get a really good run there at turn 3. Charlie trying to hold on and getting that slipstream to get amongst this battle for 6th position. It is going to be a top 5 position once everyone's pitted, I think. Oh, and that is not a move you go for, Flaky. That is very, very aggressive. And Cobb ends up in the wall. That is unbelievable there from Flaky, really, how he's thought to even make that move. Cobb, the one coming off, unfortunately, from that. He might have got a bit of damage. That might be something that the stewards will have to look into. As he pulls off there with damage, and he's retired the car. It's just undrivable. And it's not going to be a very happy Cobb at the end of this race. So it is Jay that I think might possibly be leading the way as they head down towards turn 1. Although that last lap for Jay was 3 seconds slower than your race leader, so he must have lost quite a lot of time. So it looks like now Andy has closed that gap down. Let's see what the penalty situation is looking like between them pairs. So they've both got a 2-second penalty as they head through towards the last sector. And that gap down to 28 seconds between themselves and the race leader. As they come into the last corner now. And we've got another battle there between Flaky and Charlie. Charlie trying to hold off for a possible top 5 position at the end of this race. We're still near towards the halfway point of this race. We're on lap 10 of 22. And that time around, Jay posted a 131 lap dead. A 130.9, sorry. That's over a second faster than your race leader, so this gap is just slowly starting to come down, but obviously Mike and Aussie Albie have still got to do pit stops. So it's going to be interesting to see what these boys have got left towards the end of this race and after pit stops. We've got Raki in the comments saying shout out to Andy. He's having a brilliant drive this evening. Is Andy? Let's jump on board and see what he's thinking as they head towards him through the middle sector now. As he's all over the back of Jay. I might even be thinking, bloody hell, Jay, you're slowing me up here. What's going on? In front of him on his left now is the Season 10 Touring Car Championship winner. Oh, and they're very close to touching there as a side-by-side heading down towards the last corner. Andy's going to have the inside into the chicane, but Jay is not going to want to let this up as he does so, though. As they come through the last corner now, Andy overtakes Jay for the first time this evening. He's going to be the race leader after pit stops, I think, so they move up to second and third. Aussie Albie in the pit lane now for his pit stop, as we can see there. He's got a little bit of damage as well as Aussie now, but it is still Mike on the road, your race leader. And he's looked a lot more consistent in this feature race. Obviously, if you didn't all manage to see the sprint race after the first lap, it looked like he was involved in some mither and headed for the pit lane where, let's say, his pit crew weren't the fastest, and he did get lapped by the full field and ended up finishing last, unfortunately. So Jay now, just by the looks of it, happy to sit behind Andy and try and work out where Andy's losing time compared to himself, just to make that move towards the end of the race, as we're now at halfway distance of this feature race here in the Touring Car Revolt Detailing Championship. If you would like to find out more about our sponsor for this season's championship, please head over to revoltdetailer.com. They have all sorts of detailing kits for your vehicles, such as shampoos and general washing stuff. Well, I don't need to say anymore. Head over, have a look. Their Facebook and Instagram's brilliant. The photography is top notch. Go and have a look for yourselves. Obviously, after this race, you can find out more. Mike's in the pit lane now. Mike is in the pit lane. He exits. You can see there at the bottom of your left. Your now race leader is Andy, officially on the road. It is Andy leading the way. Where's Mike going to come out? Is he going to manage to get into the slipstream of these boys? I don't think he is. So there we go. We can see the race leaders up the road. It looks like Emo Guy's not going to be too far off either. So he's going to be looking to catch up to Mike as Andy now leads the way into turn 3. Is Andy going to win his first feature race? Well, I can't remember the last time he raced, but it's his first race of season 11. And it looks like at the moment he's showing these drivers how it's done in the Megane. And further back, we've still got Charlie coming under some pressure from Flaky. Thomas just trying to hold off Party Pooper at the moment as they go through towards the last sector now. But I think this is the battle we all want to watch at the moment. Any sly little tap between these pair and battle, I think Mike might be able to catch up. And I think these pair know this as well. They're just going to be happy to sit there, I think, at the moment. As I say that, Jay comes on to the outside into the penultimate corner. I think he just got the better drive. As they are now, I think, no, Jay drops in behind. I was about to say side by side into the last corner, but Jay's one of those drivers that knows the game plan and knows how to make it work, and at the moment he doesn't want to be battling with Andy. They've got 9 laps to go in this race. That's a long time when laps are 1 minute 30 each. Just needs to sit there and even just save his move for the last lap and just get it done there. It is still Charlie trying to hold off Flaky at the moment. That gap, only 4 attempts between them pair. Thomas and Party Pooper is the only other battle going on at the moment. A flash of the lights saying, come on, let's have a good race. We're having a good battle here. Heading out of turn 5 onto this long straight. And now that everyone's pitted, we do know the official standings are as follows, with Andy leading the way, Jay in second, Mike rounding up what is possibly your podium at the moment, with Emo Guy in 4th, Charlie in 5th, with battling with Flaky there, John Boy driving around in 7th. As you can see there, he's really struggling with that BMW this evening. And I think that big skid there was just for the cameras. Granddad Steve's not having the best race, down in 8th. He did get that damage in that previous incident on the first couple of laps, headed for his pit stop early. Ozzy Albi in 9th. Thomas and Potty Pooper battling with Potty Pooper on the inside into turn 1. Will he be able to get it done down to turn 2 and 3? Or are they still side by side though? And it looks like, as much as I want to watch this battle, Jay and Andy have swapped positions. As they're side by side, heading down towards turn 2. Jay is going to have the inside line and get a better run. I say that, but Andy is absolutely flying down towards turn 3. He is going to have track position and be able to get it done. Jay's trying to go for the inside, heading down towards turn 4, but Andy's going to have track position again on the inside, down this long straight. Will Jay get a better run though? Andy going defensive down towards turn 5. With it being a right-hander, he wants to hug that inside. And the only issue is this is going to enable Mike to catch up. But it makes for brilliant watching for everyone at home. And Jay scraping that bumper off Andy's there as Jay now takes the race lead again, getting a brilliant run out of that right-hander. And he says, thanks Andy. Let's say head into the last sector. It looks like they might be coming up on some lap traffic shortly. And Andy the one getting the better run there out of that penultimate corner. They're going to be side by side, but Jay's going to have track position on the inside. And Andy has to concede to this one. And it's a brilliant battle between these two drivers. And let's see if these pair back are still battling, Thomas and Party Pooper. As they head out of turn 1. No race leader's not going to be too far behind them. Thomas might have the inside here into turn 3, and he does, but he's going to run slightly wide. Potty Pipper's going to get the run out into turn 4 onto the long straight, and he does do so. So Andy looks like he's pulled up quite a large gap now over Jay, and I think Jay was just worried about penalties there, so he's dropped back just a second. But it also means that gap between himself and Mike has come down. So Mike might be able to get into that slipstream now and close up onto Jay. Down towards the end of this race, we might see a three-way battle between them for the win. Let us know your thoughts. Who's going to take the victory in this feature race this evening, ladies and gentlemen? We're just watching Charlie now battling for the top 5 position between himself and Flaky. Flaky on the outside there, touching the grass. He manages to keep it on, drops in behind Charlie. Charlie a little bit wide there out of that right-hander up to this left-hander up the hill. But he's managing to keep it going. He's opened a little bit of gap there between himself and Flaky. This battle between your race leader and Jay coming down slightly. The gap is now, it's only 4.7 tenths. But the gap between themselves and Mike is staying around the same. So Mike just looks to be struggling slightly with the pace between these pair that are slipstreaming each other now. With only 6 laps to go now. As they head down towards turn 3, that gap now between themselves is nothing. Jay back in the slipstreaming. And we've also got to bear in mind that Mike has no penalty. So if he does get within 2 seconds of these pair that are obviously going to be battling out towards the end of the race, Mike is going to take the race victory. So it's something not to forget about, ladies and gentlemen, that might come into effect on the last lap. As Andy trying to hold off Jay as much as he can. And further back, Charlie still having a brilliant race between himself and Flaky. Let's see what's happening from the position of Mike in 3rd at the moment. As you can see these pair in front, he will be knowing that he's got no penalty, but obviously the fellas in front have got 2 seconds, and obviously if they start running wide, that penalty is just going to get bigger and bigger. So he just needs to carry on doing consistent lap times and stay between that 2 to 3 second gap where he can shut it down when these pairs start battling towards the end of the race. You can see there in the distance they are coming up on some lapped drivers. And just behind Mike we've got Emo Guy there. So any issues with Mike now, I think Emo Guy is going to step up to the plate and try and get himself onto the podium. He has got a 4-second penalty though as Emo Guy due to track limits at the moment, so he's going to need to work hard to get himself on the podium towards the end of this race. And Jay there just trying to make a move on the inside into this right hand. It looks like he's going to get it done. Andy on the outside, he's going to have to concede to that position. And your new race leader is Jay once again as they head up the hill to shortly start lap 18. And the pace of these drivers this evening is unbelievable. Consistent 131s around here is just something you don't see very often. And Jay trying to hold on to this lead between himself and Andy. They're side by side across the line. But that gap between himself and Mike down to 1.8 seconds now. As good as it is for us to watch at home, Mike knows he's within that 2 seconds. And at the moment, he is going to take the race win. So, boys, if you've got the stream open at home and you're racing, just know that you need to start pushing and stop battling, because Mike hasn't got a penalty. Andy now taking this to himself, then he needs to get a gap on Jay within these last 4 laps. So as we head up to the chicane now, it's as you were, but Jay looking like he's getting a good run on Andy. Doesn't look like he'll be able to make a move. And that gap's gone back out now between themselves and Jay. So if these pair just sit consistently now for the next couple of laps, and then battle on the last lap, we might see a race winner between these pair. But if they carry on battling, that gap comes down so much quicker, and it also helps that they've, I think that's Thomas in front with that damage, that they can slipstream for a couple of corners. That gap is going out massively between himself and Mike. I think Mike might be struggling there with that BMW. It's gone out to 3 seconds now. It was 1.8 last lap. And he's coming into the arms of Emo Guy there. And the race leader's managing to get past Thomas comfortably. Like we say, we only have safe drivers here at Motive, so if you would be interested in joining, feel free to do so on our website, motiveracing.com. Join the Discord, get yourself signed up. Obviously we've only got 2 more rounds of the championship, but we do allow reserve drivers as long as you're safe and know a bit of track awareness, then we'd be happy to have you along. So it looks like Mike is now coming under the clutches of Emo Guy, as they've only got a second gap between themselves. Charlie's still trying to hold off Flaky, as he has been doing so for the last 10 or so laps. As these pair now start lap 20, 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to be Andy, is it going to be Jay, or is Mike going to be able to take the race win off? Oh, and Jay runs wide out turn 1. Is that going to be a penalty for him? As he might need to back off, and he does back off so he doesn't get a penalty. So Andy running away slightly now. So Jay, not wanting to get that penalty, drops back. And it looks like, at the moment, if Andy keeps consistent, he's going to run away with this one. Which would be brilliant to see, as he comes into this fast right hand and out. Just needs to keep it consistent. Come on Andy, bring it home. So Mike's still in third, trying to hold off Emo Guy, who's been brilliant this evening, considering that he hasn't really been racing on project cars like he said in that interview. And we're just trying to get up there the timings. So it is Mike that's still got no penalties. And at the moment Jay will be finishing third due to penalty countback. But obviously if Mike starts closing this gap down between himself and Andy, it's only 6 tenths at the minute. So Andy just needs to keep plugging away. As we can see there, Jay just trying to get past Thomas across the start and finish line. As they start the penultimate lap now. So it's going to be 1 lap to go after this one. Hopefully he can just stop crossing the line there. He's got Grenadier Steve behind. I don't know if Grenadier Steve's still got damage, or he's just trying to, well, he set a 130.8 last time around, so he definitely doesn't have damage. He's absolutely flying. And who's that? So Flaky there, sat behind in that, no, not Flaky, sorry, Emo guy in the blue and white car, in between Thomas and Mike, just trying to get himself up into a position where he can make something work. Jay really struggling now in that. McGann runs wide in the middle sector, and Mike nearly does the same. Emo guy's trying to get through and pounce whilst he can. Jay's wide again, coming out of that right hand. He must really be struggling with tyres now. We've only got 1 lap to go shortly, ladies and gentlemen. It is all kicking off here at Motive Racing. Drop a like, drop a comment. Is Andy going to bring it home, or is it all going to end in disaster? Let us know. Is these 3 drivers just behind are going to try and battle it out? Mike makes a move, and someone's wide there. It's Thomas that's gone in the fence. Not Mike, sorry. Emu guy makes a move on Mike. Mike's not going to be too bothered about that, as he knows he hasn't got a penalty. Email guy's got a 4-second penalty. Jay's got a 7-second penalty now. It was 2 seconds, but he's just really struggling with those tyres now as they head on to the last lap now, heading through turn 2 for the last time. It is Andy that is leading the race. Usually he's in my position commentating, and for somewhat of this season I've been in his position leading races, but we decided to switch it up, let him have a drive this evening, and he's absolutely blown the championship apart. The question is, what could he have done if he'd signed up from the start? Would Mike have had a run for his money? Is the question all the bookies want to know. So it is Andy to Jay in second, and 1.5 second gap they've got. It was Cobb Andy and Jay that was setting the pace, but unfortunately a bit of contact between Cobb and Flecky has sent Cobb's car back to the mechanics, and he just wasn't going to finish the race, unfortunately for him. He won the sprint race, as we see now, I think. Oh, it's, yes, and Andy is, let's see the penalty situation, and it looks like Andy's going to take the victory here for Motive Racing's Season 11, Round 4, sponsored by Revolt Detailer himself. Andy is going to take the victory here for the feature race. Well done, Andrew. What a fantastic ride for yourself. Emo Guy comes across the line to take second. Mike rounds up your podium on countback after penalties, and Jay manages to get fourth. It just wasn't meant to be by the looks of it. He was just pushing that a little bit too hard, I think, and comes away with fourth. Charlie Goff, comes away with fifth. Flecky sixth. Grandad Steve gets count back and penalties, gets sixth. Flecky seventh. John Boy in eighth. It's just not meant to be for him this evening by the looks of it. And I can't tell if he's finished the race yet, and it doesn't look like he has. So he's coming around towards the last sector now, with Potty Pooper taking ninth shortly. Thomas finishes the race in 10th. Revolt Detailer comes around 11th. Like I say, he is sponsoring the championship via his own business. Please feel free to check out for all your car detailing and accessories, such as shampoo for your car. And John Boy spins on the final lap. That pretty much sums up his evening, as he's just struggled like hell in that BMW. And yeah, feel free to check out Revolt Detailer, their website, revoltdetailer.com. They have Facebook, Instagram for all your car washing needs. So let's try and get a shot with this evening's podium. So there we go. Andy takes the victory over Emo Guy. Mike in third. Jay takes fourth. Charlie Goff rounds up your top five. Grunestein sixth. Flecky in seventh. John Boy in eighth. Potty Pooper takes ninth. Thomas rounding up your top 10. Ozzy Alby comes away with 11th. Revolt Detailer finishing off this evening's proceedings in 12th. And we've got a couple of drivers here in the commentary booth. We've got the full podium actually. So starting off with third, Mike. What has happened this evening? Coming back after what we saw in the first race, finishing last. Talk us through this evening's proceedings. Coming into you as a championship leader. What's going on?
The first race screwed it on the fourth corner because cold tires, I believe. I don't know exactly, but just spun around and had 50 damage on the front. So pitted and just continued my race. Almost got Aussie, but not quite. And then on the end of the race, on the second race, just barely got third.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it was quite close. Obviously, I was thinking, looking into tonight, I haven't seen any of the practice or what's been going on. I was thinking that this would be a track for the BMWs, but yourself, John Boy, have really been struggling with back end grip. Is that what it's been like this evening?
Yes, absolutely. I tried, well, in the practice session I had great grip on the back end, but it's just colder, so I needed a lot more camber on the rear, but just couldn't.
Yeah, well done for your comeback drive in the feature race anyway.
Thank you.
And we've got Emo Guy here as well, finishing second on the podium again for his first appearance in season 11. He's been on the podium twice. What are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, like the first race, it was just unexpected. I just got the car, drove, and then was to try to catch up with the podium places. Then by the last couple of laps, I managed to catch into third, so I can't complain. And I managed to I managed to get second place because penalties and everything like that. So just good story for my comeback.
Yeah, well, brilliant driving. We hope to see you at some point very soon because you seem to be on pace. And Andy, what the hell's going on, mate?
I don't really know, to be honest. The first qualifying session, I put it P3 on the grid and then got a shambolic start off the line. I dropped from third down to ninth before we even got to turn one. So the first race didn't really go to plan very much. The second race really wasn't that great either, to be honest. I think what really got me into this battle for the race was I came into the pits, I was about 7 seconds off of the lead off of Mike. And obviously everyone was a bit spread out behind Mike. And I came out right behind Jay. And I think Jay was the one who was the reason why I was able to sort of keep up such a solid level of pace, because he was really setting quite a quick pace. And I just thought to myself, right, I'm going to try and stick with him. And just sat behind him in the slipstream, was really, really pushing. I was really pushing hard and just trying to keep up with him. And all of a sudden, once all the pit stops had been done, we came out in 1 and 2, and I was a bit surprised, to be honest, because when I come in, I was about 7 or 8 seconds off of the lead, but the pace that we've been setting during those laps must have just been pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, well, we were seeing it. It was about half a second quicker per lap you were setting. But obviously, UPair slipstreaming is going to work faster than Mike being out there on his own. And halfway through the race, after the pit stops, we saw UPair stop battling, and that time gap between yourself and Mike come down below that 2-second penalty. Did UPair have a quick chat, you and Jay, just to say, right, let's just relax now and drive together?
It was mentioned. It wasn't really carried out, so. At one point, we were sort of saying, we should probably just get our heads down and not battle each other for the next couple of laps, try and pull out a gap. But then it didn't really happen. We kept continuing to go at it and swap positions, and so there was never really any. The only real period at which we were working together was during the actual pit window when everybody else was coming in. After that, once we started battling, there was no sort of respite period. It was just a constant back and forth.
Yeah, and we really saw him struggle with tyres towards the end of the race, with him running wide and Mike and Emo Guy coming through. Did you find that in the Megane towards the end of the race?
Yeah, it was getting progressively worse. But I think what aided me a bit was the fact that I was doing a lot less of the hard work because obviously he was in front for most of the race when we were trying to make up the time during the pit window. So I think that maybe I was able to conserve my tyres a lot more through the corners by just sitting in his slipstream and by sort of leeching off of his hard graft. So actually I think that's probably why my tyres were in slightly better nick and I was able to capitalise at the end. But it was a good battle with Jay. We had some really exciting side by side moments. I don't know if they got caught on the stream. If they
Yeah,
did,
it was brilliant.
it'd be awesome. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it back because we had a very tasty battle and it was very clean, very fair. There were no moments where I thought things were going a bit overboard. It was all very sportsmanlike. So fair play to Jay, and unlucky that he drops off at the end. His tyres I think just couldn't handle any more. But really enjoyed it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done, you boys. Well, have you got anything else to say, Andy? What's is it F1 tomorrow?
F1 tomorrow, yeah. If you want to join us, 6:45 p.m. UK time. Still on BST at the moment. We'll be moving to GMT in a couple of weeks, but for the time being, we're still on BST. We'll also be on next Monday for the Clio Cup as usual, but I can't quite remember where we're racing just at the moment. But we will obviously be live at the usual time. So if you want to check that out, then definitely do so. If you want to join the Motive League, www.motiveracing.com. You can get involved in Project Cars 2, ACC, or F1.
Thanks very much. Bye.